Hey everyone, this is Gnogart, and today I wanted to bring you a Genesys deck profile. The TCG has mostly been figured out, especially Dracotail, so I thought I'd dabble a bit in Genesys because I haven't so far found a deck that I really like, but I think this just might be it. Because this is a deck core that I already had lying around, but it was never quite good enough. But the cards are actually strong, and now they also got more support. You see one of the cards here, and I figured now this might be the time to play Megalith. Now, I had a version with Mitsurugi, but I dropped that one because Mitsurugi Ritual is 60 whopping points, but also you could feel that the Mitsurugi part was kind of the dominating part of the deck, and I kind of wanted to play a more true Megalith deck. So let's hop right into it. Of course, this is a Genesys deck, so I will have to talk about the point values, but luckily for us, the Megalith cards have no points attached to them, so we can just go through them in one fell swoop. But if you don't know what these cards do, so this is the new level 12 monster, and you can summon this with a Megalith card, and you can reveal this card in your hand. And for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot react to the effect of your Megalith ritual monsters, which is really, really strong because you have a lot of quick effects. So once you start chaining them, your opponent basically cannot interact you until you fully set up, which is very, very strong against Droll and also good against Nibiru. And the other effect of this card is that if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can negate it, and then if that card targeted a card on the field, you can also tribute one monster opponent controls. So Omni Negate, really, really strong, negates everywhere. This is your boss monster, and this is basically what Megalith needed, like some payoff, because the engine is very consistent, or like efficient at least, but it didn't have the payoff for it. So two of those, I had tried one, but I like having to just, if you draw it, it's nice because it makes you harder to interact with, but also you can just tribute one for the other, like with Megalith Fool. Speaking of, Fool is, in my opinion, the best Megalith monster, so you max out on it because this does so much on its own. This is the best ritual monster to summon on your opponent's turn with the Aratron. This put here, but it's also like if you just get this through, this also like just does your full setup because on your turn you'll summon the Hagith to grab you your spells and traps, and on the opponent's turn you can summon anything that you want to interact with your opponent with. So the level 12 or your Bethor, which is your board nuke. And I already put these here. Aratron I maxed out because this is basically 5 mana for rituals. But it's also like on your turn, it's just a play starter if you have any of these or a card that searches them. So just a good card to max out. And then for the others, the Megalith veterans among you will probably be up in arms right now, but I am on one Hagith, one Bethor, and one Fuloch. No Ophiel, no other card, no Och. So I started this deck pure with Extra and then extra deck with whatever, and then a lot of Megalith monsters. But my issue with that was that you have to draw specific combinations of cards, right? You need a monster that ritual summons, like Aratron, Bethor, right? Or one of the spells. And you needed the monster that you wanted to ritual summon. So Fool, Hagith, Ophiel. But none of these cards have like multiple roles. They all have one role, so you have to draw specific 2-card combinations. So I wanted to cut the engine down and supply it with something else. You'll see that in a second. But also, I don't think you need Fuloch anymore because Hagith can now search the new Anastasis, which if you don't know what this does, on your turn, you can discard a card once per turn to grab 2 Megalith from your deck, one low level, one high level. So basically this card gives you the setup, right? You have a monster you want to summon and you have a monster that lets you summon. So because Hagith now searches monsters basically through the Anastasis, I figured I don't need Ophiel that much. I'm still on the fence on running it because you can, what's nice with Ophiel is you can summon it in draw phase and grab your Notra Plura, and that can't get drawn because you're in draw phase, and then you can go activate the Notra Plura in the main phase and then play through draw that way because they cannot react to your Megaliths. So if you play it smart enough with your priority, they can never draw you. So that is why they cut the outfield, though, because we have the Anastasis for the Haggith, and also cut the extra Haggith because now we have Fuloch. And Fuloch, what it does is, if it's ritual summoned, you can grab any Megalith card. This is very important. Can grab spells and traps from a graveyard, and then as a quick effect, it can ritual summon a Megalith from your graveyard. So what you'll do is you go Haggith, grab this, then you go Haggith effect, summon Fuloch, Fuloch summon back, like grab something back, summon back the Haggith, and then the Haggith grabs you your Megalith Genesys, which is one of the other endboard pieces I really want to end on. Because Genesys, in general, is a very board breaker heavy format, so having something that just lets you layer your interactions is good. All these cards are off camera now, so I'm just gonna put them aside since we are talking about the spells and traps. And there's one other spell, obviously, the Unfound Megalith. This card is beyond broken. This is kind of Mitsurugi Prayers, but it's not once per turn. So this just ritual summons from your deck by attributing double the level of a monster. So generally, if you start with this, your Fuloch will grab this back and you have that as an extra layer of interaction. Also, speaking of layers, this not only grabs you two Megalith monsters, it also, when a Megalith monster is ritual summoned, you can either attribute a monster opponent controls, or you draw two, discard one. So this is once per your turn, once per your opponent's turn, and so you just, during your opponent's turn, you draw more cards, or you tribute one of the monsters, and during your turn, you just go +1. Very, very strong card, which is also why I figured I don't need the field spell with this card, because the field spell gives you back resources, but this just is a starter that also pluses you, so the field spell doesn't play by itself. So that's why I cut down on the Megalith cards, and what I supplied it with is, of course, 2 Senju. You can play Manju, of course. Manju grabs ritual spells or ritual monsters, but we don't run any ritual spells, so it doesn't matter, and I think Senju is a bit cooler. So I run 2 of them because of ratios. If you don't run the next engine I'll show you, then you can obviously run 3. Preparation of Rites is sadly 5 points. But the other engine I run is the Onomod engine now. If you play Genesys, you probably have seen this, and maybe you'll roll your eyes right now, but I think this provides a very important role in this, and this is what I talked about before, is the Megalith cards need a certain combination of cards, something that can ritual summon, or something that you want to ritual summon. But if you run a rank 4 engine, I'll just show these right now, you can actually supply that strategy. So you'll definitely run these 4 at the top, right? This is just a very good card. Having a search target doesn't hurt. And then these are optional. I'm trying the Zubaba Knight because it means that 1 Dododo Warrior means you can make 2 rank 4 XCs, which is basically full Megalith combo. And the Ganbara Knight is just good to have. What's also a nice synergy here is because on detach, they add one of each other. You just get free ritual fodder because this is level 4, this is level 4, this is level 4, this is level 6. The only odd man here is the Zubaba Knight, which is a bit annoying. But you'll just, once you detach them, you get free ritual fodder for your Megaliths. And I like this engine because it doesn't feel like you're playing an Onomod deck, you just feel like you're playing this engine as a support for the Onomads. Now, how do they support them? We have to jump into the extra deck for that right now. Still, so far, 0 points, by the way, in this whole deck. But the 2 most important XCs, I'll just put them here, is Gallant Granite. This is 33 points, or as first card with points. And the Code Igniter. So Gallant Granite detaches 1 to add a rock monster. So this grabs you your Haggith or your Fool that you want to summon. Or sometimes at the end of the combo, you can search an Aratron just as an extra interaction or whatever. So this gives you 1 piece, and this could basically get you the ritual spell and the monster, so either or. But I'll also play the Code Igniter because this basically is a rank 4 generic, and on summon it can add a Cyber's ritual monster, which would provide you with extra ritual fodder, but I didn't want to play a brick. But the other effect is more important, is you can detach 1 material from this to ritual summon a monster from your hand tributing monsters with levels at least to the level of the ritual monster. So why do we run this? This basically means if you summon both of these, you can grab a Fool and you can summon it. And because you detached some of the Garagas, you also have the levels to tribute. But also, if you summon this, just with the Dododo Warrior, and you summon the Fool or Haggith or whatever, they can't draw you until then, right? Because this doesn't add anything. So you just ritual summon, and let's say you ritual summon a Haggith. You can go chaining one Haggith, chaining to one of your Onomats. The Haggith is chain blocked, and you get 2 searches before they draw you. And then you can overlay these 2 for F-Zero later, which we'll get to later. But this is the reason why I want the Onomat engine. I think it's very good. Plus, they give you an extra push going second because you just make rank 4s. Now, for the non-engine, I am playing the Rescue Ace package. This just helps you filter through your deck, and turn 0 you can maybe get to an Aerodrome place, and you'll have a free body on the board already to tribute. The downside of these are they are level 3 and level 6, so they don't really work with Unformed Megalith. So if you want to play like a Skullmeister, for example, then feel free to do that. But still 0 points. And then for the big hitters, we have 3 Nibiru. I would at least run 1. Just because we are a Granite deck, so having 1 extra rock to search is good. But so far I'm on 3. Those are 10 points each. And you could also run like Purulia instead. You can run Fuvalos instead. And then if you run Fuvalos instead of 2 of the nibs, you even save 6 points. Play another hand trap or something. But so far I like Nibiru because a lot of decks don't really respect it. We have 3 Valor, which are another 7 points each. So this is 30, 51, plus the Gallant Granite is 84. And we have 3 Droll, which brings us to 99 points. Droll, just a very, very good card in this format against decks that do a little too much. I think this deck generally, with the Onomat engine and the Megaliths, can play into boards decently well, unless they go like full FTK board. So Droll is very good. So we have 1 point left. We already went through the Exo deck, and that 1 point goes to Daigusto Emerald. It's just a decent rank 4 to have. It draws you a card. It's something to do if you have more of your Onomat engine and you already made the Granite. You just make this, you recycle some cards, draw 1. And what's nice is you can recycle your Rescue Ace. If you drew the brick, you can just tribute it for a ritual summon, and then you shuffle it back later with Daigusto Emerald, or you shuffle back the Onomat targets that you search, or you shuffle back one of your Megaliths that you want to fool out of your deck. So very, very versatile. You can also recycle your 33-point Granite if you want. And generally the extra deck is mostly just rank 4 toolbox. So extra Knight for going second. We have 2 Gagaga XCs. The Gagaga Girl just because in the side deck there's the Xyz trap, so you can add it with this. Plus you need some targets to show with the Ganbara Knight. And then the Gagaga Magician is so as the follow-up. If your turn 1 went through like I don't know, the Code Igniter, you can just for the follow-up make 1 rank 4 Gagaga Magician, revive this, and make F-Zero on that turn, and that is it. The F-Zero, of course, 0 points, and it gives you something to do with the rank 4s that you used on your first turn. So you use 2 of your bodies that you already have used to do something, make an endboard piece out of it, which is nice. We have 1 Dempsey. This is just scraping the barrel right now. I was just looking for rank 4s that do something, and this at least, if you want to go to F-Zero anyway and you have 2 level 4s, you just make this, grab Rescue Ace Impulse, and you have another card in hand to either tribute or use on your opponent's turn. And then we just have like spot removals like the Silent Monarch, Light Dragon Adignista, Castel, Tornado Dragon. And the last 3 slots are just Ultimate Slayer targets for the side deck. If you want, you can run Super Poly instead of the Nib. Both are 10 points. But I feel like you want more monsters in this deck, similar to Dracotail, because you want things to tribute. So that is the main and extra deck. And now let's show you some lines. Generally, Megalith is a more free-flowing deck, so there are no set combos. You just have to look at your hand, see what you have, but there are some points that you have to do during your combo. So in this line, I want to show you it's just if you get to summon Fool somehow. So we have like Fool, Aratron, and something to tribute, or just to show what the Ornament Engine does, let's put this away and we just have the Dodo the Warrior, which can substitute for any piece that you need. So we have Fool, Ornament, the Dodo the Warrior, and we have the whatever to tribute, at least level 2 for the Fool. So what you can do, for example, with this hand is you go the Dodo the Warrior, send Onomato Kage, summon this, and you make a Code Igniter, and then you use the effect, detaching the Dodo the Warrior, and then you ritual summon by tributing the Rescue Ace and summon Fool. Now, if you have tributed a Megalith monster, even better, then the Fool can add it back. If you didn't, then just use the Dodo the Warrior effect, which is really nice, grabbing you a, in this case, just Zubaba Bancho Gagaga Code. You can grab the Zubaba Warrior, make another rank 4 Xyz. I just wanted, for the sake of this combo, to show you this. This is a level 4, so if you don't want to use it, you can tribute it, or you can summon it, and then revive the Dodo the Warrior here, because this is just free tribute fodder, right? We have a normal summon, so we can just use our normal summon here, and we just revive this level 6, so we can use Fool, tribute it off, and go into Haggith. Haggith then can grab you your spell, which is generally the first point I want to hit. It's just like get Fool on the board, because if they interact with Fool, you can still use Fool in your opponent's turn to do something. And then the next one is get Haggith for the spell, which discards you one, and then you grab your 2 Megaliths here. I like going for Bethor, just so I have another way to ritual summon if I want to, but also to have it in rotation for the grave. So next up, what you want to do is you want to use Haggith's effect to summon the Fulach, and that'll trigger both the Anastasis and the Fulach. The Fulach can grab you back anything here, which is really nice. So what you want to do is you grab the Haggith, you draw 2, and then you discard the Haggith again. So you just basically pot of greed it, and then you can use Fulach to ritual summon from the grave, tributing itself, going for the Haggith. Haggith not being once per turn, the search is grabbing you a Megalith trap, and then from here on out you basically are set, right? Even if they nib you here, you just have the trap. For that you have like 2 cards drawn and a lot of more cards in your hand. But since we have the 2 level 4s here, why not just make, let's say, a Gallant Granite to detach, and here you could go for a lot of things. You could go for the Aratron just to have another way to quick ritual on your turn. You can go for the Notraptora, so you can just go Fool, throw this away and summon, and you have a lot of options here. But let's just go for this. You can also grab a Nibiru, and then you can just overlay these 2 for the F0, and that is basically it. Now, best case scenario, your Fool has grabbed something back, at least level 4, so that this is level 4, because now what you can do during your opponent's turn at any point, you can use the Fool with your Bethor in hand, for example, if this was level 4, or you could just go these 2 if it isn't, and summon your Notraplura from your deck, which will trigger your Anastasis. So either you remove something on your board, or you just draw 2 more cards and discard 1, right? Let's just put these here, and 1 in the grave. And then at any point you can also go for the trap to revive the Fulach, which doesn't grab back because it's been special summoned, not ritual summoned, but you can still use it to ritual summon from the grave. So if you have any level 4 lying around, which you should with the Ornament Engine, you can just go and revive the Bethor, and that'll blow up your opponent's board. So generally this is what you want to have, is like just a Fool on the board. This is the first thing and the most important thing, because once the Fool is on board, you're fine. You can just do something in your opponent's turn. The spell obviously is nice because it gives you card advantage and furthers your lines, and then the trap is insurance. This is the luxury, right? You don't need this, but it's good to have if you can full combo, because if they don't hand trap you, they'll have breakers, so you want to have this. For example, if they dark hole you, you can just grab back the Fool and play from there. And then you have some cards in your hand, hopefully some hand traps, maybe a Nibiru if you already had something and could grab it off of Granite. So that is just an example line. And let me show you one more thing. So I mentioned before how Notra can help you play through draw. And for that, I just put together a test hand. You basically just need this and like any way to get to full. But for this measure, I just have the Anastasis and also threw in a Senju just to drive the point home that you can play through draw. So what I want is, I want to resolve this, I want to resolve this, I want to resolve Haggith, and I don't want to care if my opponent has draw. Now, how do we do that without just bribing our opponent? And the trick is to just use Notra Plura in combination with your turn player priority. So you go to main phase, and the first thing you do is you activate this. Now your opponent cannot react to your Megaliths anymore. So what you do then is you activate the Anastasis, and you discard any card in your hand. Let's just take the second Anastasis to grab Fool and Archon. So now this is where your opponent would draw you, but you have player priority. So what you can do is on res, you activate Archon. This is a quick effect to ritual summon, and your opponent cannot react to your Megalith cards. So they cannot draw you here. You just go and tribute whatever to summon Fool. And then you could trigger this, but this just gives them another opportunity to roll you after. And I want to resolve the Senju. So we just go full effect to grab back the Aratron here. And now your opponent has missed their opportunity to draw us. Now, I want to resolve the Senju, so I'm just going to normal summon it, activate the effect, and I think I'll grab a full off. Now, again, this is where your opponent would draw you, but you have another quick effect. So you can go full and just get rid of the Aratron, for example, summon the Haggith. Now you can go Chainlink 1 Anastasis, Chainlink 2 Haggith. This is so they can't ash the Anastasis because, again, they cannot react. And you will go and the Haggith grabs you the trap, and you'll draw to discard 1 of the Anastasis. Now, if they draw you, you're already set. You have the Fool, you have the trap, you have the Full-Off, which you can use in a second just to grab something back from your grave and summon it. And then you have the quick effect ritual on your opponent's turn as well. So you don't care if you get drawn here. But if you don't, you can also use the Haggith here, summon the Full-Off to grab back, let's say, Araton. And then you use the Full-Off to ritual summon from the grave the Haggith, which can get you your unformed Megalith as well. You could also just leave the Haggith in the grave and just keep this as your interaction. But the cool thing about having Haggith on board is, in this scenario, because we had the Senju, if you didn't have Senju, you'd probably keep the Full-Off. But with the Senju, you can actually overlay these two. For example, for a Gallant Granite, you detach the Haggith, it's important because this is important for your Bethor, and you grab like any Nibiru or any Megalith monster if you want to extend. So from then on, you can just set your 2 cards, and you can pass with this. Now, during your opponent's turn, the Fool is level 8. So what you can do is you use the Fool, use the Aratron that you have grabbed to summon a Bethor, which can then pop 1, 2, 3, 4 cards on your opponent's field. More than enough. And then you can use your Megalith trap to revive your Full-Off. And this can quick ritual summon using itself and Bethor or Fool to make your Notra Plura. And during your opponent's turn, you can also trigger the Anastasis because you ritual summoned to tribute a monster, or you just draw to discard 1. And you also have like 2 draws plus an added Nibiru. And all that through draw. Now, of course, like the draw could have prevented the unformed Megalith, I guess, and the Nibiru. But you get the gist, right? So very, very strong into draw. Now, that is it for the video. I couldn't make a more thorough combo guide because the combos really are open-ended, but I think, I hope you got the gist of what I was trying to do with this particular build. You can obviously play more things. You can play the Ophiel, of course, to have more draw phase action, or you could play Mitsurugi package because the other Megalith, can, during your opponent's turn, summon any ritual monster from your hand. So you could just summon a, Murakumo from your hand during your opponent's turn. That is possible. There's a lot of things to play around with. You can also just play a big Mitsurugi package just because Unformed plus Habakiri is just incredible. But that's it for my Megalith deck profile. Let me know how you like it. Let me know if you like more Genesys content on this channel. Currently, I'm just tinkering with it until I find something in TCG to do. But yeah, I'll see you next time.